Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about the goal of becoming good at League of Legends and what that really means. A lot of people tell themselves, yeah, I want to be a pro player, so I'm playing every hour of the day and eventually I'll be good. That's not really how it works, you know? If you have the goal of becoming good at anything, if it's being a good friend, maybe being a good partner, or being good at sports, or being good at singing. It's about repetition. Sure, repetition is very important, but it's also to be open minded, to recognize where your failures lie. There's nothing bad with failing, and also always reviewing what you've done and put yourself in a different perspective from your past perspective. So the main thing is why I'm doing this video is to kind of continue on the how to not tilt and how to be efficient kind of thing. I want to talk about what it means to be focused, what it means to be efficient in anything. So let's say you want to get buffed, you want to get ripped, you want to go to the gym. Of course, the first step is to go to the gym. The next step is to lift some weights. And then there are millions of guides on how you're supposed to lift, what you're supposed to eat. There's a lot of things you can add to the process. It's not just going to the gym, right? You're not just going to the gym and automatically it's like GTA, you just automatically get buffed, or like, oh, you spend 1 hour of time in the gym and the atmosphere in there is going to make you buff. It's about what you do in the gym, right? What you do in the gym. And to draw the parallel with League of Legends, it's about, sure, you're queuing up for a game. Yeah, I played 16 hours of League of Legends today. Wow, I am so good. I'm going to be a pro player. That's not what it means. Sure, repetition is important, but repeating things in a proper manner is what's important. Recognizing where you fail and taking your failures towards the next game. So, the most important thing is to review what you were doing. You take a step back, you look at your thought process, you look at what you did, you pay attention to what went wrong, what went good, and then you make a goal out of it. So the first thing that is important, in this case, it's always applying thought process in what you do. So if you're playing a game, let's say you want to master Maokai for some reason, God bless you. You want to master Maokai, you're playing a game against Aurelia. Let's say your thought process is, early on, I want to push in the wave. I want to sap in the bush so I don't get ganked. I want to ward at level 3. Let's just say you have a bunch of these thoughts. You're going to itemize some HP because Aurelia has true damage. And then this is what happens in the game. Let's say the wave is pushing towards you and she has a big wave coming in and she decides to trade with you. She wins the all-in, and all of a sudden you think to yourself, wow, Aurelia is just OP. No, not really. You could have thought of the thing is, in the moment, I don't want you to think about what you could have done, sure, in a sense of lane phase, it's important to think of what you can do when you come out of base. After the game is done, it's important to take a step back, review what you could have done. So maybe you could have cancelled that Aurelia Q with your own Q because of the knockup, right? Maybe you could have done something else. Maybe you could have played safer, right? It's about reviewing your own thought process. That's why it's so important to not be like a robot. You go into a game, you queue over and over, over and over. You have a routine, and it's just time is just flying by. You're not applying any thought process, and at the end of the day, it's 3 in the morning. You have school tomorrow. You gotta wake up in 5 hours. And all of a sudden, the day just didn't benefit you and your goals at all. So it's very important. You set this goal for yourself. You want to be good at League of Legends. It's important that you do everything in your power to refine what you're doing. It's about reviewing what you're doing, recognizing failure, taking that upon yourself. Failure is such a negative word, but I think it's a positive word. It can be turned into something positive if you just look at failure as something that will happen to everyone, and then you try to make the most out of it. You try to take what went wrong and take it to the next step. Maybe the next time you'll be even more wrong. Doesn't matter. You do the same thing. You look at failure as something that is part of everyone's life. Suffering and failure is a part of everyone's life. It's a part of the world. And it's all about what you choose to suffer for and what you do out of your failures in the end. So, in the context of League of Legends, you're supposed to review your own thought process, view yourself from a different perspective, think to yourself, this is what I could have done better, this is what I could have done differently. So, I want to talk about a few tools that you can use to make this a lot easier. It's hard to sometimes remember, but one simple tool is plays.tv, something that most pro players use to just review their own gameplay, go through it and think, oh, I could have done this better, I could have pushed the wave here, I could have based at a different time, I could have gained an advantage here if I just bought this item, based and bought Doran's ring here, I had a good base time, go so on, right? It's about reviewing your own gameplay. Pro players use this, pro teams use this. I use this with my players when I want to go specifically from their angle. I want to understand the player's thought process and then we refine it together. We take a look at what could have been done better. We look at the possibilities that he had. We look at the probabilities. We do calculations. This is at the highest level, right? And then we move on with our conclusions. Our conclusions might be completely wrong, but it's important that you reach a conclusion, you try to come in with new ideas if things go wrong, and then you try it, and then you refine it. And then through enough failure, you'll reach a point where you will find success. Always, you'll find success if you keep taking failures as something that is just a part of it, part of the process, and then you move on. This is something that every pro team does. Korea, whatever, they review their own game and they take the most out of it, they learn from it, and then they move on. The same thing you need to do in solo queue in order to be efficient. So another thing that you can do, right? Let's say that most of the player base is silver and bronze. Looking at guides, looking at pro players is something that is very good to do. But it's important to once again apply thought process. The thought process should be not, I'm going to do this because Faker does it. The question should be, why does Faker do it? So, let's say you were watching Faker play Echo for some reason. He's playing against Syndra. He's using E to dodge her Qs and then commit to trades, right? So, for some people this is very obvious, this is very simple, but I just want to use this example. And then you go into a game, you try this yourself. You try this yourself, and then you recognize your own flaws in it, right? You see, oh, this went wrong here, this went right, and then you expand on an idea that you got from a pro player, or an idea that you got from a guide. This is this is a very good way to do it, so you don't have to kind of start from scratch. If you're in silver and bronze, there is a lot of things that can push you to the next level, right? And then when you reach a very high point where you are in Challenger, or when you are in LCS or you're a pro player, then it's a lot about reviewing yourself, right? But this reviewing yourself is still important in any aspect of life. In any league, bronze, reviewing yourself is very important, because at the core of it, being good at the game is understanding the reason why. Not just doing something because someone else does it, it's understanding the reason why. And then slowly it will have this trickle effect on everything that you do in the game that is connected to the game. You understand one concept, it will be applicable to other things, and all of a sudden you will have like a full circle of what the game is, right? A full circle. And that is like the goal, understanding why and learning thought process in that sense. And the main thing is to review what you do, apply your own thought process, refine your own thought process, and then eventually you will reach greatness. So the thing is, setting a goal for yourself, repetition is important, but being critical of yourself and improving what your repetition really means is key. Doing something over and over and nothing is changing for you. Of course, a lot of people have this routine in life. They wake up 8, they go to school, they come back home at 4, they play League of Legends, they tell themselves they want to be pro players, they tell their parents tell them they're crazy. They are probably right, because the odds are, that is going to be the case. You're not going to be a pro player. But the main thing is, if you really want to be, it's about making sure that you make these changes all the time. It's about reviewing yourself, reviewing what you do, and then you will eventually find the recipe for what works. It can be something as simple as playing Maokai. It could be something as broad as playing top. It can be as broad as playing the League of Legends macro game. It will eventually reach that point, as long as you keep reviewing what you do and apply thought process to everything that you do. A lot of people do the same thing over and over. They're stuck in Silver 3 and they're thinking to themselves, they make excuses for themselves. Oh, I am stuck in Silver 3 because of my teammates. I'm stuck in Silver 2 because the teammates is the big one. I'm stuck in Silver 2 because I get trolled. I get stuck in Silver 3 because I am whatever. In the end, it's all about raising your own consistency. Because I swear to God, everyone has lost games with disconnects, but you've also won games with disconnects. With a large enough volume of games, your consistency is all that matters. So you want to improve your consistency through reviewing your own gameplay, reviewing the game that you play, and then you will prosper eventually. It's about failing, embracing your failures, and using them for something good. The best example that I can give you is Deft. When he came over, I think it was Worlds when it was in Europe, he was like 2-8 in his placements. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's bad. Maybe he had horrible teammates, but if he plays a large enough volume of games, his consistency is what is going to boom him to the top of the ladder, right? Sometimes you get unlucky, which is true. But with a large enough volume of games, the only thing that will matter in the end is your own consistency. The disconnects and the levers and the trolls, they will all be it will be leveled in a sense. You'll win enough games, you'll lose enough games, it will be balanced. And the only thing that matters in the end is your own consistency. So it's about raising your consistency and nothing else. So please, maintain your focus, review yourself, download plays.tv, and eventually you'll get better at the game and you'll reach your goals. This is something that you can apply in everything in life. So review your things, get better, and get good. And don't be stuck in this place, in this mindset where you think that you can't be wrong. I'm thinking to myself, that everything that I know, I might be completely wrong. There's a chance I might be completely wrong about everything. There's a chance. This is what open-mindedness is. There's a chance that we're wrong about everything, because if we as species weren't open-minded, imagine, millions of years ago or thousands of years ago, the world looked completely different. And there were some people back then that they thought that was the finality. But open-mindedness is what brings us forward. It brings us as a species forward and also as individuals. So if you want to prosper and reach your goals, your individual goals, is about being open-minded, reviewing yourself, and understanding that there's a chance you might be wrong. But there's nothing wrong with that. Failure, there's nothing wrong with that. So keep reviewing yourself, make a good routine for yourself, but this is primarily for how you use your League of Legends hours. So I hope that makes sense. A bit of a tangent on the how to not tilt and video that I made, kind of a tangent that I want to focus in on. I think that pretty much settles it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye. Peace. That is usually my ending, yeah.